Ukraine's strike hits Russia's main space rocket maker. Ukrainian long-range strikes hit an industrial site in Samara, Russia, overnight into August 15th, triggering a regional air raid alert and a series of explosions residents reported hearing across the city, according to Russian officials and Ukrainian open-source monitoring of the aftermath. Samara Region Governor Vyacheslav Fedorashev confirmed that a missile struck an industrial enterprise in the region, saying emergency services and an operational headquarters were on site and that details on casualties were still being clarified. He did not name the facility. Samara Mayor Ivan Noskov later said a massed attack by enemy missiles caused localized damage to the city's industrial infrastructure, adding that Russian air defenses had intercepted part of the attack. Neither official specified how many missiles were involved or which weapon system struck the ground. The Ukrainian open-source analysis group Cyberbarashno, which has previously published satellite imagery assessments of Flamingo missile strikes inside Russia, said the strike most likely used a Ukrainian FP-5 Flamingo cruise missile and identified the impact point as Building 106A at the Progress facility, geolocating it to coordinates 53.217623. 50.303163. Ukrainian commentator Ola Ponomar separately reported the same conclusion, citing the group's GeoInt collective analysis. Neither Ukraine's military nor Progress itself had publicly confirmed the specific building as of this writing, and the claim rests on Cyberbarashno's imagery review rather than official acknowledgement from either government. According to Cyberbarashno's assessment, Building 106A is part of the production complex for the Soyuz launch vehicle family and operates as a cleanroom facility where onboard electrical systems, instruments, and circuit boards are installed. The group described the building's function as producing the rocket's guidance and control systems, cable network, and instrument compartment, work that must be completed before a rocket can be considered finished even after its airframe and fuel tanks are built. Cyberbarashno said a neighboring structure, Building 106B, serves as the final assembly point for completed rockets and may also have been damaged by the blast. Progress, formerly known as TSSKB Progress, has produced Soviet and Russian launch vehicles since the 1950s, including the R-7-derived rocket that carried Yuri Gagarin into orbit in 1961. It is Russia's only facility that performs series production of the Soyuz 2 family of launch vehicles, used both for crewed and uncrewed missions and for placing military and commercial satellites into orbit. The plant also builds electro-optical reconnaissance and Earth observation satellites. Cyberbarashno said the facility's significance lies in that exclusivity. The group said Soyuz 2 rockets built at Progress launch and replenish Russia's military satellite constellations, including the Liana network used for signals intelligence and targeting and the Persona and Rajdan optical reconnaissance satellites, as well as the Rassvet broadband satellite constellation operated by Bureau 1440, a Russian company building a domestic answer to Starlink. Public launch records reviewed independently show that Bureau 1440's Rassvet satellites, including test and commercial batches launched in 2023 and again in March and July 2026, have so far flown exclusively aboard Soyuz 2.1B rockets from the Vostochny and Plesetsk cosmodromes, a pattern consistent with Cyberbarashno's characterization, though it could not be independently confirmed that no other launch vehicle has ever been used or is planned. Cyberbarashno assessed that recovery from fire and firefighting water inside a cleanroom facility would take considerably longer than a conventional industrial repair. The group said restoring the site would require reclassifying cleanroom zones, recertifying the manufacturing process, and retesting for airborne particulate contamination, work it estimated in months rather than weeks. The group also said Soyuz onboard electronics depend on imported components subject to export restrictions that Russia cannot currently readily replace, though it did not provide further detail on which specific components would be affected. The FP-5 Flamingo, built by the Ukrainian company Firepoint, is a ground-launched cruise missile with a published range of up to 3,000 kilometers (1,860 miles) and a warhead of roughly 1,000 to 1,150 kilograms (2,200 to 2,540 pounds). Ukraine first used the missile in combat in August 2025 against a Russian security service facility in Crimea, according to Ukrainian officials at the time. Firepoint told the Associated Press in 2025 that it aimed to raise production from an initial 30 units a month to 210 units a month by October of that year, though independent verification of actual output has remained limited. Cyberbarashno has previously attributed Flamingo strikes to attacks on the VNIAR Progress Electronics plant in Cheboksary, a separate facility from the Samara center that manufactures satellite navigation receivers and antennas, and on the Antipinsky oil refinery in Tyumen in July. The scale of damage at the Samara site remains unresolved.